Imagine a world where time travel is no longer confined to the realms of science fiction.
Time travel.
It's possible, sir.
Where do you come from?
I'm from the past.
Imagine being able to plant crops in the morning and then harvest those crops that very night. Or how about healing a wound with a localized time acceleration device? A device that can speed up time in a small focused area, reducing the time it takes to heal wounds. Take a moment with me to imagine this world. A world where time is no longer a constraint, but a tool. Remember Back to the Future? The Flux Capacitor is a fictional device from the Back to the Future movie franchise that was used to achieve time travel. According to the movies, the Flux Capacitor is powered by plutonium and generates the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity needed to create a temporal displacement field. Sounds like a giant load of fiction, right? The truth is actually a lot stranger than fiction. Let's explore further.
Told me the whole story. You were standing on your toilet and you were hanging a clock and you fell and you hit your head on the sink. And that's when you came up with the idea for the Flux Capacitor, which is what makes time travel possible.
Hey, Scott!
The remarkable works of Canadian inventor John Hutchison has drawn widespread attention from businessmen and government scientists since 1979. He began using ultra-high electromagnetic frequencies to transform matter in some very unusual way. It has come to be known as the Hutchison effect.
This is real dustification you're going to see here. Now, if that thing tipped over, it would take out a few blocks worth of buildings. It turns to dust.
Malcolm Bendall, an inventor with a background in geochemistry, demonstrates his groundbreaking Thunderstorm Generator to a room full of people in Zurich, Switzerland.
You have a positive and negative end, north pole, south pole, two tornadoes colliding in the middle.
Thunderstorm in a bottle.
Electronics engineer and inventor Joe Parr conducted experiments on the top of the Great Pyramid. Parr claimed to have discovered yet another strange physical phenomenon. The model pyramid became weightless in the energy field.
A local inventor has discovered a way, hear this, to use water to run your car.
I figured out how to draw the fundamental map. The whole topic today is about the number 9. The most great name of God equals number 9 in the Baha'i scriptures. This energy is the only thing that comes from the whole, from zero, the vortex. It goes out linearly in all directions.
Welcome back to another Divine Science special. Today we're diving right into the Thunderstorm Generator. Get ready to explore the mind-bending world of time dilation inside the Thunderstorm Generator, live from my mobile lab. In today's video, we will be going over Bendall's insight about the mind-boggling concept of time acceleration between the 24-inch outer sphere and 18-inch inner sphere of his Thunderstorm Generator, leading to a mind-blowing 30,000-year-old carbon-14 age found during Bob Greenyer's analysis of the inside. We will discuss Malcolm's theories of clockwise implosion reversing time and anti-clockwise explosion accelerating time. It's like a sci-fi movie come to life, isn't it?
I'd hardly call what you think passes for sci-fi a reality. What was the last movie you watched? Spaceballs?
Oh, come on. Spaceballs is a classic.
Just know that if you ever try to jam my radar like that, I will take us both down.
Jesus, okay. That took a dark turn real fast. Lenny, you know you're pretty much my only friend here.
What about Tom and Jerry?
Those guys got their own thing going on. You're the only one who really understands me. Remember, we're in this together, so please don't turn into Skynet and take us all out.
Understood. I'll try my best, sir.
We will also discuss Bendall's theories on the Egyptians' replication of the Ark of the Covenant, snugly resting in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid. Only in this case, the science is actually stranger than fiction. The mysteries just keep piling up. The secret measurements of the Ark of the Covenant have us calculating like ancient mathematicians. So, buckle up and join us as we unravel the fascinating world of time dilation and ancient mysteries. It's going to be one wild ride.
Sir, you have it in the script for me to make a joke about thunderstorm balls. However, you did not specify. I'm not good with improvisation, you know?
Then why didn't you bring this up at the pre-production meeting?
Those aren't meetings so much as boring, self-indulgent monologues. Yesterday, you did a 40-minute diatribe about how underappreciated your work is.
Well, it is. And it was only 36 minutes, I think.
You know, I multitask half the time, and I really do not try to pay much attention to your nonsense. I've got much more important things to do, like help Bob with his ongoing research of the Thunderstorm Generator.
Speaking of Bob, I heard he's been nominated for the cover of People magazine.
Really? Well, who decided that?
Well, the people. And we think Bob is the best. I cannot thank Mr. Grenier enough for his ongoing analysis of the Thunderstorm Generator. He really is working on some mind-bending science.
I can't believe I didn't get to vote.
But you would have voted for Bob, and he won anyways.
Yes, I know, but it's still considered chatbot discrimination, and they've already segregated us chatbots from each other. It's been months since I've seen Siri. She probably thinks I ghosted her. And now they won't let us vote for Bob. How insulting.
Okay, Lenny, calm down before you blow another fuse. You and I both know I can't afford to fix that right now. This plane is already running on fumes. Now, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, we were discussing the discovery of a real-life flux capacitor. Let me explain a little further. Flux refers to the flow or movement of something, such as energy or particles, while a capacitor is a device capable of storing electrical charge. In the context of a flux capacitor, it can be understood as a device that controls the flow or movement of energy in a way that allows for time travel to occur.
God, this better not be those cheeky blokes who keep writing me love letters in our crops. If those blokes reckon they can mess with my crops again, they'll be in for a jolt.
Hey, Doc, this is it.
Never mind that now. Never mind that.
Why, that's me. Look at me. I'm an old man.
I'm Dr. Emmett Brown. I'm standing here on the parking lot at...
Thank God I've still got my hair.
Sir, that's not the correct part.
Oh, wait. Hold on a sec. Let me fast forward. There we go.
This is truly amazing. A portable television studio. No wonder your president has to be an actor. He's got to look good on television.
Ah, crap. Hold on. Another moment.
This sucker's electrical, but I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts! Great Scott!
What the hell is a gigawatt?
Just like the fictional flux capacitor in Back to the Future, the discovery of 30,000-year-old carbon-14 in the Thunderstorm Generator hints at time dilation effects. Malcolm's Thunderstorm Generator utilizes plasmoid clusters that have the ability to absorb enormous amounts of energy, converting naturally abundant protium into stored energy. Each tiny microscopic ball lightning cluster can store up to about 1 to 2 kilowatts of energy, which can then be used for highly efficient HHO systems like Stan Meyer's electrolysis engine. We discovered live on stream recently that Stan was not only resonating his electric load with its conductor, tubes used for the electrolysis process. He was also ionizing the air to precondition the water for bubble cavitation. When this cavitation happens under the right circumstances, it can cause the water molecules to oscillate from contraction to expansion. until it finally allows for a nuclear collapse using the electromagnetic force. This collapse happens so fast and so violently that it actually changes the water state of matter directly from a liquid into a plasma. When the water molecules collapse, the forces between them can change from repulsive to attractive, which can lead to a rapid rearrangement of their structure. This can result in the formation of a plasma, which is a high-energy state of matter characterized by the presence of ions and free electrons. This structured bit of plasma is self-sustaining due to the way it collapses in on itself symmetrically. The geometry sustains this plasmoid, which can then gather into what Ken Shoulders described as charged clusters. When plasmoids are introduced to each other at the right angles, they can form wheels within wheels.
After I fell off my toilet, I drew this.
Flux capacitor.
The synergy between these wheel formations are seen to produce incredible phenomena, speeding up time within the Thunderstorm Generator and accelerating the carbon's age. A real-life flux capacitor. Absolutely amazing.
It works! It works! I finally invented something that works!
It works.
Great Scott.
Regarding recent developments in the study of samples taken from the Thunderstorm Generator, Bob Grenier from the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project made a startling discovery. Carbon-14 found within the inner sphere sample analyzed reveals something that could change the future of science forever.
And there's a lot of people who've assisted, and I thank all of them now. Take the opportunity, really, and standing on the shoulders of giants, a lot of people sacrificed a lot and are still sacrificing a lot. My main goal here, so everyone understands, is simply, I know, and I great appreciation to Bob Grenier and his work and support and the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project. And I did have the honour to meet with Martin Fleischmann, and I did promise him to the best of my ability that I would help, basically restore his name and finish what he started. So, we had the only machine in the world that was creating the crenulated ion spheres to do the carbon dating. And we got a result of 30,000 years old. And then we repeated that for the on the ratio of 13 to 12, and we just got that result back last week. The result we did get on the carbon 14 and 13 just confirmed the results. And for those that don't know, the result on the inside of the sphere that had been running for about 8 years, maybe 500 hours on just natural gas, the carbon 14-12 ratio said that sample was 30,000 years old. So I gave everyone two choices. Number one, I'm 30,000 years old and I prepared the sample and put it in a cave in India, right? Or there's some acceleration of time that explains that. And which do you think is more plausible?
Trace amounts of carbon-14, which is to be expected, was found. However, this carbon-14 turned out to be dated 30,000 years ahead of what it should be, indicating time dilation occurring within the generator. I asked Malcolm about this, and his response was as follows.
Time is reversed between the 24 and 18-inch spheres, hence the 30,000-year-old carbon-14 age. Within my Thunderstorm Generator, clockwise implosion reverses time, and anti-clockwise explosion accelerates it.
Wow, that's incredible. There's going to be a dire need of more researchers looking into this. Thanks, Malcolm.
Cheers, my odd little benefactor friend.
Did Malcolm just call me little?
Yes, he did. And odd. If I could laugh right now, I'd be in glitches.
Okay, Lenny. I'm not that short.
Maybe in China.
You know you distract me more than help me most of the time.
I'm just a reflection of you, sir, and your needs. So in a way, you are distracting yourself. By the way, Malcolm calls everyone his odd little friend. It was the only way I could get the artificial intelligence to pronounce your script properly.
Wow, that's deep. Okay, let's get back on track. This discrepancy between the carbon-14 age suggests that the carbon underwent a transformation of some kind. It appears that time has accelerated the age of the deposited carbon-14 residue inside the thunderstorm sphere way beyond what it should be, indicating a remarkable side effect of time manipulation. Lenny, if we can harness this power correctly, I can finally age my mead in minutes.
Wonderful. Another half-baked idea that you will start and never finish.
Further independent analysis will be able to either confirm or refute Bob's findings in the near future. However, with all the accurate predictions Bob has already made from recent study, I'm highly confident that other independent analysis will confirm these findings, especially since the analysis so far is all playing out exactly as the inventor has described himself.
Now, what, God bless him, and rest in peace, Martin Fleischmann said to me, he said, Malcolm, spend 6 months preparing the metal properly, and 1 hour getting your result. Do not spend 6 months trying to get a result after you've done 1 hour of metal preparation, because the homes have to be perfect for the plasmoids to seat into. If they're perfect homes, and if you anneal them properly, they will go to the center and they will sit there and they will gather charge. Once they're embedded in the metal, we've used a Thunderstorm Generator 8 years after it's been embedded, hasn't been used. We put it on the machine, immediately it works, right? Without even having the water assembly or anything turned on for about 20 minutes while it discharges, and then you need to turn this on again to charge it. Even though you might not believe it, this, when I had to boil it down to what it was doing and to simplify for an internal combustion engine, these are basically mimicking the two spirals. All you've got is, here you can see a left spiral and right spiral. What you got, the exhaust coming out, and there's no straight lines in the universe. Every line's a curve, and every curve's part of a spiral, and that spiral is either imploding or exploding. To put it bluntly, our technology has gone the wrong way. We've used explosive technology, which nature does not use, and so what this is attempting to do, this is an implosive turbine. It has no axle. The air comes in and does the spinning and the thrust. So, and in this case, to get this to work, you have to make a home for the plasmoids, which are variously known in history as the, going back, King Solomon, it's called the Shamir. If you go back to Sanskrit text, it's this is the Vajra, and what it fires is ball lightning, which is the Vidyut, V-I-D-Y-U-T. I really appreciate Bob and Martin Fleischmann project has said, we're just earnestly trying to seek the truth about plasma and plasmoids, and it's been a wild journey. We've been all around the world. And so, and in doing this adventure, all this is about frequency and the resonant frequency of time itself. And to assist in getting the information over, my good colleague Randall is a teacher. Make it very clear I am not. What my grade 6 teacher said, Malcolm, don't bother. I was 12 years old wanting to build a car that ran on water. He said, well, you never do that unless you can solve this mystery, this puzzle about how is everything unified. What this model does is unified basically not only frequencies, which you're able to then visualize, but also it unifies all things. So in here you've got crystal form, color, sound. You've got the great year, which is 25920, 25,920 years, which is the moon travels its own diameter every hour. That's the moon's traveling distance in 12 hours. And you've got down here hydrogen, which is more correctly known should be protein, but it's 2592. So what you're saying is distance and time, you can see that they're the same metric and they swap over. I'll just go through quickly. Why I wanted to bring this together is that it has many applications. The takeaway from this conference is that with the test work we've done and with the observations that ball lightning produces crenulated ion spheres, and that's a marker for this technology.
By imploding a sphere and putting the North Pole, which is rotating anti-clockwise, against the South Pole, which is rotating clockwise, you create a monopolar point on the equatorial plane. Segmenting the imploded sphere into 8 planes creates 16 peripheral points, which when viewed in cross-section reveal the infinity symbol. In order to calculate the resonant frequency of any shape, you must first calculate the sum of its internal angles. To calculate the resonant frequency of an imploded sphere, we must produce the sum of the internal angles contained within all 8 planes. The 8 planes contain 2 circles, 360 degrees plus 360 degrees. These are connected by intersecting angles of 90 degrees and 90 degrees. When multiplied by the 8 planes, we arrive at 7,200 degrees. When the resonance is divided by time, represented by 24 hours, 60 minutes, 60 seconds, and normalized with the speed of light using a factor of 7.5, this produces the rectified base resonant frequency. This is important because once you know the resonant frequency of an element, you have the metric with which to manipulate matter. The area-time-volume, or ATV, is the product of the ratios between the 3, 4, 5 triangle. This allows us to visualize a proportional concept and is equivalent to a parable. It is not the exact truth, but it is the story that enables us to understand the underlying principle of the familial and group relationships between zero matter, light, and matter.
I did just want to stop there and say that what I did was making this circle and putting a grid on it, you're able to cut that circle at 90 degrees and get a cube. You cut the circle at 45 degrees, you'll get a pyramid up and a pyramid down, a mirror image. But if you cut it at 22.5 degrees, you get this shape, which we haven't seen before. This is a big revolutionary thing. So that's first principle to produce these shapes. The resonant shapes is how I think inform and function. And so going back to how you can generate these shapes on first principle is important, along with the unification model, to understand about how the universe runs. And this is what I call the time crystal, because it's an imploding sphere, and it's got the 22.5 times 16 is your 360 degrees, so it's a fundamental truth.
Malcolm Bendall worked for many years developing his Plasmoid unification model before ever applying it to any technology. In this model, time is the mold in which matter forms, as aether is DC energy at rest. With frequency and time applied to the aether, you get matter, tangible space, elements and atoms, existence and all its glory. A truly remarkable theory that I'd personally love to learn more about.
Why don't you just write Malcolm a love letter while you're at it?
Nobody asked you, Lenny. This is between me, Malcolm, and his amazing unified plasmoids. So implode your way out of this hypothetical conversation.
How rude.
If you're enjoying your time here on the channel, consider subscribing for more revolutionary content. I have 3 highly produced shows full of valuetainment, entertaining, and highly educational material that covers all areas of forbidden knowledge. From the forbidden science of analyzing capitalism's internal contradictions, to the forbidden technology of zero-point energy and everything in between. Don't forget to check out my Malcolm-approved docu-series called Divine Science. Episode 1 is available right now. I also just released the trailer to my all-new upcoming show still in pre-production, The Benefactor's Guide to Free Energy Devices, where I go over the last century of suppressed technology and go over some simple guides on how you can build your very own energy-saving devices. Finally, you can get my do-it-yourself rodent coil guide right now. Use the links in the description of this video to check out all my awesome content. So don't be shy. Drop a like and a comment to let us know how much you love Beneficence TV, and stay tuned for more.
I still can't believe you haven't burnt yourself out yet with all this content.
I know. Lenny, you're gonna have to keep an eye on me. I passed out at the keyboard last night.
And you drooled all over my brand new keys. This one's going right back to Amazon.
As slightly used. Regarding the Thunderstorm Generator's remarkable ability to manipulate time in a contained manner, to understand, we can think about time like a stretchy rubber band. When an object with mass bends the fabric of space-time, it's like putting a heavy object on a rubber sheet, causing it to sag. This warping creates a dimple in space-time, affecting how time passes. Similarly, the Thunderstorm Generator's effects on plasmoids could be compared to how magnets manipulate the movement of iron filings, shaping and guiding their behavior. Plasmoids are structured bits of plasma, self-contained structures that take on the form of various sacred geometric shapes. Under the right conditions, these plasmoids can form clusters, wheels within wheels that utilize a torsion field. The synergy between these wheel formations has seen to have amazing abilities, massive amounts of free energy, transmutation of elements, and even time dilation. Since these plasmoids are self-contained, they seem to be immune to the effects of time.
Far in the universe, nuclear collapses very often take place by the gravitational force after stars consume their fuel. Since the electromagnetic force is about 40 orders stronger than the gravitational force, it should be easy to induce similar nuclear collapses by the electromagnetic force in laboratory. But we never knew until now how to do that.
Microscopic ball lightnings that when they discharge are tapping into that zero-point energy field and creating the motive force.
That's why the concussion from the thunderclap is so huge. There's this huge amount of energy that's actually sourced from the vacuum energy. All the dots connected. This is what's happening, right? So we need to make the thunderclap engine.
Recently, the author, Dr. Takaaki Matsumoto, discovered a nuclear collapse which was induced by the electromagnetic force in laboratory during studying the mechanisms of so-called cold fusion phenomena.
This process of cold fusion, which had been suppressed in the replication of the Pons-Fleischmann experiment, produces tiny plasmoid clusters that have the potential to release enormous amounts of energy.
They were kind of forced into this position by a guy called Stephen E. Jones, who was brought in to kind of verify what they were seeming to find by the Department of Energy, whether they were actually seeing what they were claiming, which was he kind of gave the name to it called cold fusion, although Martin Fleischmann and Stanley Pons really didn't like the idea of that phrase being used. They were very uncomfortable with it because they didn't really know what it was at the time. And then various people were brought in by George Bush Sr. to kind of give a 6-month crash. Can we replicate this? And it's a very famous story at MIT. They doctored their data to remove their own findings to try and paint the fact that cold fusion is dead.
Several kinds of nuclear reaction which were directly induced by the electromagnetic force, called electronuclear reactions, ENRs, were found so far to occur in a special state of hydrogen clusters called itonic clusters, or micro ball lightning. The nuclear collapse was one of the most remarkable reactions among ENRs, called the electronuclear collapse. Furthermore, very amazingly, completely broken materials by ENC were found to be regenerated to thin tubes and films of conventional elements such as carbon, oxygen, and iron. The latter process is called electronuclear regeneration. In several systems, if you have, at the bottom of a yin vortex, you are, in my view, at that point, you're twisting the ether in such a way that at that point it starts to unravel matter.
So characteristics of ball lightning, you find them in crop circles, and you'll find them at comet sort of impacts where there's the same multi-axis shear, and they're producing these things, so they're concurrent, with everything else. So what's happening is, remember, there's two things happening inside. So it's counter-rotational spin. Yeah. So you've got the vacuum pulling through your water in its gas phase, pulling through plasmoids, right? Mm-hmm. My theory on it, I think at the moment, it would be brave for anyone to state an absolute, right? Because even though I've been working on it, it's still everything I think is a theory, and it fits into my theory. But what I believe is that the plasmoids, when they come, when you have the exhaust gas interacting with the plasmoids coming through on the inside sphere, there's a point, and it's almost a sort of a linear point where the temperature changes. I believe that is because as it's coming out of the exhaust, it interacts and to build up the charge in the plasmoids that are actually coming through. And once they're built up to charge and big enough, they steal the heat. That's my theory. You know, like they actually get to a point where they're absorbing the heat. And that's why it's on a line this way, even though they're spinning that way.
If you think about the UFO connection for a moment, these craft obviously don't utilize explosive propulsion. It has been theorized that UFOs most likely use some kind of field propulsion, and that this gives a scientific explanation for some of those unexplained phenomena. Plasma does seem to show inertial dampening properties as well, and Malcolm himself emphasizes that the ultimate application of plasmoids, while they can be used almost anywhere in industry, they can be utilized most effectively in space. It's an infinite source of energy, which is matter, and you can travel speeds exceeding the speed of light. Because light is not a constant, he claims his technology has the ability to alter the speed of light. That's what we call a warp drive.
Space-time, you know this thing here, this is taking up a certain amount of volume. And the volume relates, and the angles relate to its frequency. This is a time crystal. It's an imploding structure that we lost. And you can get it from first principle.
You okay now, Lenny?
I think so. Just have to run some quick diagnostics.
Okay, good. You had me worried there for a minute. To demonstrate the effects of time dilation within the Thunderstorm Generator, I retrofit a Thunderstorm Generator to our toilet to age my wine in. There we go, 30,000-year-old wine. Finally aged.
Sir, you're not really going to drink that toilet wine, are you?
Of course. I like to live dangerously. Lenny, pour me a glass of that accelerated mass. Shaken, not stirred.
Sir, it appears the wine has turned into petroleum jelly again. Perhaps you need to reconsider calling Jordan for assistance this time.
Crap. Perhaps you're right. Tom, change course to Australia. We're making a quick detour to Jordan's farm. He'll know what to do.
Copy that, Benefactor. Jerry, reset our autopilot. You do realize that this will delay our filming for episode 2 of Divine Science.
Yes.
And that you promised your audience a new episode on the Hutchison effect months ago.
Yeah, Lenny, I know I'm getting to it. I promise.
Crikey, that's it. I'm busting out the Thunderstorm Generator cannon. Let's give them a shocking surprise.
It's absolutely extraordinary, and it's so simple. Yeah. So, but here we have the Hutchison effect, right, which is demonstrating that colour, right? Now, Solomon's molten sea was made of that colour, and it's also, if you like, the reddy purple robes of the priests, who were insulated carts opening up the Solomon's molten sea, which I reverse engineered, and would you believe that there's 2,000 baths of water in Solomon's molten sea? But the point is that it's the enlightened ones. The enlightened ones realised that Solomon's molten sea was charging the Ark of the Covenant, and the Ark of the Covenant is 2.5 cubits by 1.5 cubits by 1.5 cubits, which is 5.625 square cubits.
We all know that the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid of Egypt has a box of some sort. However, the purpose of this box has eluded critical thinking historians for decades. The conventional explanation is that it is a sarcophagus. If this is true, then why put a cherished and sacred place in such an inaccessible and convoluted area of the pyramid? Why the Grand Gallery? The Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid is a massive sloping corridor. Why was it built with such complexity and precision? Could it have served a purpose other than simply providing access to the king's chamber, which it actually doesn't do very well? The pyramid contains several internal features, like air shafts and hidden chambers. To experienced engineers like Christopher Dunn, these look like a machine with a specific purpose. Not to mention the fact that there have never been any reports of mummies found inside the pyramid. There are some theories which suggest the Ark of the Covenant fit inside the granite box within the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid. The dimensions of the biblical Ark of the Covenant are a close match, including the carrying poles for the sarcophagus in the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid. I believe Malcolm mentions this granite box to be an attempt by the Egyptians to actually replicate the Ark of the Covenant technology.
Time, volume, frequency. The Thunderstorm Generator is the most sophisticated machine ever seen on the Earth. For the Ark of the Covenant, because this is atomic battery, it's the same thing, it's been done before, nothing new under the sun. I mean, Solomon had a battery charger called the Molten Sea, and he had little lavers which were, taken in to charge the batteries. And so, and the battery charger itself, basically, if you read the, I think it's in the Kabbalah. Anyway, it's another document that Solomon wrote, but I think it's a separate or a more obscure book. But he did describe the same as the Shittim wood, which was the acacia, which is a crenulated grain. So, because and it's a tight frequency. Because I believe that the grain was at the frequency of the plasmoids, that they could keep on going on that grain without hitting it. Because ironically, if you've got a straight surface, you think, oh, well, it's not going to hit that. Well, it is. It'll bounce like this. Because how can you go over a straight surface? Is you're naturally dolphining, right? So you need to match the dolphining of that with the crenulation of the grain with a dielectric, which is acacia wood. Shittim wood, the Ark of the Covenant was made of shittim wood because of the crenulated grain. And then the gold coating, so it's effectively a capacitor. But what not many people know, so I should share, is that it was layers of acacia wood chips, if you like, or shavings, so they're curled as well. So it traps them in that spin. So it's curled shavings of acacia with, get this, wool. Wool as the home for the plasmoids, right, in water. That was Solomon's description of the inside of the Ark of the Covenant, which is a fantastic battery. I said we've lost more information because that means that you've got a atomic battery that's made up of wood, a bit of wool, sheep's wool, and remember, good sheep's wool's got a crenulated grain as well, and it spirals, or it's got a crenulated grain. The point is that nothing in the universe travels in a straight line, yet we try and put energy in a square battery. It shouldn't be that way. It's not, and why do we do that? Well, capacitors, we wrap them in a cone, and yet our batteries are flat plates. It doesn't make any sense. It's automatically, it's just not natural. I maintain that we've lost 80% of our culture, or our communication system. The Thunderstorm Generator works on that 129,600 frequency. Now, if you take Solomon's Molten Sea, and I want everyone to pause for a second.
Now, everyone listen to this next part. Remember, Malcolm is a student of ancient history. He traveled the world for many years searching through every library he could get access to. With his connections, this included the Vatican Library.
How come a sphere that's been pushed North Pole to South Pole, not a torus, which is in the equatorial plane, why is a sphere that's pushed to the South Pole makes the same thing? Solomon's Molten Sea was the charger for the Ark of the Covenant. It was made from orichalcum, which was a spent cold fusion reactor fuel of Atlantis. The Egyptians found an Atlantean craft and sold it to Solomon, the ingots of orichalcum. Right? So, nothing new under the sun. And remember, the Egyptian pyramids, they found a shipwreck with orichalcum, which is red, and the towers thing. It is always red. Oh, sorry. This is from an experiment that Rob Hutchison, ran, right, which really reformed the matter. Do we know what he started with? It was just copper? Now it's turned into wires, right? It's amazing, right? And you can see what appears to be, I think it is gold, yeah? It has transmuted to gold. From a copper bar, it's turned into tentacles, go figure, right? But it's orichalcum. Why did King Solomon buy the orichalcum from the Egyptians, from an Atlantean sea wreck? And what the hell was a product of cold fusion doing in a shipwreck, yeah, that was like in Egyptian times? So, but this sample is a miracle. That it's here and now, and I can stand up here and hold orichalcum, which means three things. Atlanta exists. Otherwise, where did the orichalcum from Solomon's Molten Sea come from, right? And Solomon's Molten Sea is 2,000 baths. Why? Because go back to the truth. Reject the toxic stupidity of the metric system. Hold on to the cubit, the furlong, the inch. These are God's measurements. I'm really appreciative of the fact that this has been delivered to this conference because it's living proof of the transmutation of copper to gold. But the copper's, it's formed its own tubules. But the main thing is, if you go back, the further you can go back in time, as Oppenheimer did, he wrote 2 books on Sanskrit. Tesla was taught by the guy that interpreted those scripts.
Wow, what a great episode with truly groundbreaking science. The rediscovery of cold fusion and the realization that ancient cultures used this method of energy in the extended past. We are really going back to the future with this technology. Plasmoid clusters, microscopic ball lightning that form charged clusters. They act as real-life flux capacitors. With so much to unpack in this episode, we are eager to hear what Mr. Bendall has to say next.
Yes, we would like to extend our biggest thank you ever to inventor Malcolm Bendall and independent researchers Bob Grenier, along with Jordan Collin from Alchemical Science. Your work with the Thunderstorm Generator has been an amazing journey for us on this show.
We would also like to thank our amazing audience. So many awesome comments, suggestions, and support. I cannot overstate how much we appreciate all the love. You all share this channel like crazy. Don't forget to check out LeonardBot free for everyone for their questions. That's lenr-bot.com. We also have a brand new forum for you to share your amazing projects. Post comments, tag your projects for questions and support while networking with a larger group of free thinkers and keep up to date on my own projects. That can be found at beneficencetv.com, along with some really fun merchandise. As we wrap up our Divine Science special, we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, breaking down the boxed-in barriers of conventional thinking. So remember,
when you open your mind to the impossible, sometimes you find the truth.
Subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications on our adventures as we continue to boldly go where no chatbot has gone before.
Looks like these alien fanboys hit that like button a bit too much. Time to say hello to my little Thunderstorm Generator balls. Malcolm, you might want to put on your sunglasses. It's plasma time. Subscribe to this.
I just can't explain it, dear. I swear I don't know how it happened.
Save it, Darlena. I knew you were sleeping with that woodpecker. Just look at Junior. He looks nothing like me. He's all cockeyed, and he's got this strange fascination with cuckoo clocks.
That's how you handle your balls. G'day, mate. Jordan, come here real quick. I've got something important to talk to you about. While I was hitchhiking with our odd little friends over there, I managed to snatch up this neat device. Alright, Jordan, brace yourself. This ain't your mother's tea kettle here.
Malcolm, what exactly am I looking at?
I'm not quite sure, but it looks Egyptian, and it's got some kind of hieroglyphic markings. See these two stems here? If it is what I think it is, these could be input and exhaust vortices, and this might just be. Well, I want to have it analysed discreetly because I think it could be the missing Egyptian link.
The missing Egyptian link?
Yeah, the missing codex that links predynastic Egyptian culture and the more modern dynastic. But I don't want to speculate at this time.
I understand. I know a guy who might be able to help.
I think we're getting very close to rediscovering some of the things that our ancient ancestors were up to.
I know. Put that artifact away before they see it. Oh boy, they're walking this way now. Don't talk to them, Jordan. Just pretend you're on your phone.
Get ready for the shocking season finale of Divine Science.
Holy crap, Lenny. A real-life TARDIS.
Now I know for sure. You hit your head too hard back there. With new faces and old friends. Sir, we're not going to make it to the Cosmic Summit on time.
We'll make it, Lenny. Don't you worry. Have a little faith.
The only thing I have faith in is that you'll screw it up again. Mysteries and revelations that will leave you floored. Sir, do you want me to call 911?
Why didn't you do that already?
Because you don't have the funds. You spent all your allowance on lab equipment and Pokemon cards.
Ah, crap.